Shalom, shalom. Hope everybody's doing well. Yahweh is good. Hopped on here to share a thought and to share what Passover means to me. I saw this being done by some other assemblies um, in this more excellent way as Passover is coming. Um, but I wanted to, or rather, I felt led really to share, um, to share my heart about this memorial that is about to take place. Um, First, giving glory and honor to the Most High, and also realizing um, how far the Most High has brought me. This is my fifth year in this more excellent way, and that in itself is mind blowing. Like I could have never, ever um, thought that I would be where I am right now at 30 years old, um, working to have a career and building a life that is satisfactory to the Most High. I started off um, before the Lord actually um, entered into my life, to my knowledge, um, as someone who felt like they had it all together, who had all the answers to all the questions. Um, Yet I had so many vices in order to help me to function what I thought was functioning at that time. Um, this is a man who is uh, speaking of a life where I once was a habitual weed smoker that couldn't function throughout the day without being high. Um, I was a man who fornicated frequently um, in order to kind of feel that void of, wanting to be accepted and loved, and often leaning to what became an addiction to pornography and escape, essentially. And many of the things that I was doing at this time was to help me feel as though I had a stake in this world. I had a a leg up in the world. I was validated according to my performance in all areas of my life, no matter what it was. And somebody who's watching this video may be thinking, "Man, that sounds very familiar." Well, it's it's many people at this point as it's being revealed. Um, but I went the way of having all these different things going on inside of me, and having emotions that I didn't know how to really decipher, trauma I didn't know how to break down. Didn't have therapy. Wasn't diagnosed with ADHD as I am now. Didn't have the tools and strategies and coping mechanisms, healthy coping mechanisms to help me function. Um, and all of that ran me into the ground. And I found myself searching and hungering, for everything to finally make sense, for there to be some relief, for there to be some comfort and some peace. However, I did not find it in the world. I could not sex this out. I could not smoke the disappointment or the shame or the guilt or, whatever was going on inside of me. Um, all in an effort to feel normal. Everything that I was doing made me less normal, made me less lovable to myself. Um, And when I finally got to a point where I could admit that to myself, I had received messages from people like my late uncle, Jared Hayden, who told me salvation is free. It's free. Now, this is while he's in the hospital on his deathbed, essentially. And this is before he transitioned. He told Rashad, salvation is free. Salvation is free. Not really understanding what that meant. You know, you grow up in church, you hear things, cliches, different things like that. But he was telling me, salvation is free. Salvation is free. And it didn't stick at first. Being totally honest, and many times when we're told things, they don't stick the very first time we hear them. But God was so gracious to me at my wits' end, not knowing what to do. Pure desperation, pain, confusion, brokenness. I remember crying out to God for the very first time. And I'm in my car, I'm in traffic, but, you know, I can't escape from what's going on around me, can't go anywhere. And here I am trapped with all this stuff going on in me, and I let out this, what I can only say now is a child crying out, help me, please, change me. And actually that song came on my radio, on my Bluetooth speaker, because I didn't have a radio in my car at that time. I had 2000 Plymouth Neon, and the radio didn't work. So yeah, we had a Bluetooth speaker on there. But I just remember crying out to the Most High as this song is playing. And I had it in my heart. I need more. I don't want this anymore. And the Creator, the maker of heaven and earth, the King of the universe, He touched me for the very first time. And I remember like there being such a warmth and purity, power, and assurance in His presence that everything that I'd done before, all the weed I ever smoked, all the sex I ever had, all the masturbation I had ever done, anything that I had ever done to that point failed in comparison miserably. Connecting that back to why Passover is so important and why it's important to me. Number one, it was the very first feast that I ever celebrated in this more excellent way. But it also commemorates that God said in His word, I have heard the cries of my people. and I have come down to save them from their taskmasters, their enslavers. Someone watching this video up until this point, you may be feeling like you've been in literal bondage and slavery for years, months, weeks. But I can testify, and I can say fully, without doubt, a broken and a contrite heart he will in no wise despise. The Father responds to when we know that we are depraved, that we are deprived, and that we need Him, that we can't do it without Him. There's no point, and we know that. And because He's such a good Father, He takes it upon Himself, the high and lofty one, and He makes Himself low. And He brings you into agreement with the fact that He's all that you need. He's more than you could ever want. He satisfies like nothing you've ever experienced. And above all of that, He desires to do it. So Passover is remembering not only that He hears the cries of His people, and He's coming to save, but also that He sent His only begotten Son. His only. He sent His only Son to come here to this planet and to take on a gruesome death, punishment, and abuse He did not deserve. All because of the Father's love. All because the God you don't see desires for every human heart to know that He is love. And Jesus said in John 15:13, greater love has no man than this, that He would lay down His life for His friends. You are my friends if you do whatsoever I tell you. The word is, if you find yourself in this place of, God, I need you. I can't make it without you. I don't want to try anymore without you. When you let Him know, He'll answer. He'll answer because He's a good Father. He's a good Father. And it is assured that when the Father acts on your behalf, you will never be the same. Happy Passover. Yahweh bless you. May your Passover be filled with joy and peace, and you abound in every good thing that the Father has for you and your family. And if you're new, just know He loves you. Shalom.